A lot of firings, a lot of hirings, and we'll see who got fired and who got fired. Let me actually go bring that up for y'all because oh my god, there's been hella. And actually, I must see if I can put it on Instagram to make it better because I've been trying to search up on Google and I can't find anything. Because someone just got, who was it, the Chargers? Someone just got hired that wasn't my boy Robert. Yeah, this guy, there you go. Jeff Halley, the Packers defense coordinator, got hired. But I want to see all of them. Because I forgot. Because these all guys are still hired. But but the Dolphins just hired him. So now he's not there. And then the Titans, they just hired Robert Saleh. So, bro, they should have a whole thing. My God, where is it? Hmm. I'm just gonna Google it. NFL coaching recent. I remember I searched it up yesterday and it came out. It's called NFL coach firings. Firings this year, whatever. Hiring this guy. And I'm gonna show y'all. Need for Speed Carbon. Get the Mustang GT, dude. There we go. All right. So Titans obviously fired Callahan until all these moves were open. But now, big wing for tradition. But now, the Titans, they just hired Robert Saleh. The Giants hired John Harbaugh. The Cardinals haven't hired anyone. Cleveland hasn't hired anyone. Atlanta hired Kevin Stefanski. The Raiders haven't hired anyone. The Dolphins just hired Jeff Halley. They haven't hired anyone. They haven't hired anyone. And they haven't hired anyone. So they actually need to still add that, bro. They need to add that because now they have a coach. Well, yeah, actually they do have that. They have a coach, and they have a coach, and they have a coach. So actually, 4 coaches have been hired. All right, and the rest of them is done. So speed round. I'm gonna do a speed round real quick to see who deserved it, who did not. Okay. I mean, actually, on Instagram too. So the first one, the Titans, right? Who they hire? They fired Brian Callahan. I think it was deserved. Now they hire this guy, my guy. Let me show y'all actually my guy. You guys can't even see him. This guy, my guy. You're messed up, babe. You know, I still have another topic actually. I'm gonna talk about Real Madrid. So I have another topic for your information. Stop being a hater. But anyways, speed round. They hired my guy, Titans. They hired Robert Saleh, great defense coordinator. I'm sad as hell that he's leaving because he's the reason our defense was even good this year. So I'm sad. I'm sad, but he's leaving. I hope a great opportunity. Actually, I don't think the Titans is a great opportunity, but I think he just wanted to be a next head coach. And I think maybe he sees some potential in Cam Ward. Their defense is good. He got Jeffrey Simmons in there. So I think that's what he likes. He wants to see. And who else was in there? Well, actually, now Byers on the thing now. I don't remember anyone else. Let me actually look at their depth chart. Ooh. The Titans. Where y'all at? Who else is on their defense? Ooh, Sebastian Joseph Day is good. See, Jeremy Simmons, Barton, Key, Amani, Kyrie. I got some good guys. I think he's mostly just saying Cam Ward. And let's see who he hires as his offense coordinator, because that's going to depend a lot on Cam Ward's development. So we'll see. Anyways, next one. I hate going back and forth, but I so annoying. Next one. That head? Who's head? Robert is bald head. Never mind, I got it. It's bald head. For real though. Anyways, the Giants. They hired John Harbaugh. Let's go back to him. Where is he? There he is. A picture of it. John Harbaugh. There he is. Look at him. John Harbaugh. Him. He just got fired from the Ravens the other day. He went to the Giants, I'm pretty sure, because of Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo. Their defense is good. I mean, they look good on paper, at least, you know. What's his name? Abdul Carter hasn't looked up to par, but they still got Kayvon Thibodeau, Sexy Dexy, Dexter Lawrence, and another guy? Brian Burns. My guy, Brian Burns. So their defense looks good. The front line looks good. He wants Jackson Dart. Oh, and I forgot LSU receiver. His name escapes. Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is on there too. So I think that's why he took the job. He said this looks like it. And most people said they wanted this job. So John Harbaugh, what was it called? John Mora? Starts with an M. The Giants owner. Forgot his name. I'm pretty sure John Mara, I think it is, actually. John Mara. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Damn, why doesn't he come out? That's kind of crazy. Yeah, there he is. Him, you probably want an experienced coach. There he is. John Harbaugh. Switching to the Cardinals. They haven't hired anyone. The Browns haven't hired anyone. The Falcons, they hired Kevin Stefanski. No idea why, to be honest. Like, I think he's a good coach, don't get me wrong. Where actually is him? Where is he? They literally just hired him the other day. Where's he at? There you go. They hired him the other day. I think because he's been 2-time coach of the year for Cleveland, right? He's been 2-time coach of the year. Situation didn't really go out with Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. I think he could have done a better job at Cleveland. And most Atlanta fans don't like this. He says he's actually a good coach when he got pieces like they do in Atlanta. I think so too. They got Penix, Drake London. Obviously, the tight end, the name escapes me right now, from Florida. Kyle Pitts. Bijan Robinson. Imagine what he could do with Bijan. So I think that's why they hired him. And we'll see. I think it was just the whole situation that he had in Cleveland wasn't good for him. So I think that's why he left. But he's not a shitty coach, for all means. Okay, he's not a shitty coach. So yeah, I think the Cleveland thing just didn't do well. And then I don't know what he did. I think he had something. His personal bias probably against Shedeur messed it up, or I don't know who. I remember Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, didn't say that he forced him, or it was something going on. I don't know, but to make it quicker. But come on, I think he's gonna be a good coach for the Falcons. But yeah, in my opinion, I wouldn't have really him. He would have been my first choice, but they picked him. Falcon, I already said Raiders haven't picked anyone yet. Dolphins just said they hired coach Jeff Hafley. Halley? Let me go back. Bro, they just hired this guy. Yeah, Jeff Hafley, they just hired him. He was a head defensive coordinator for the Packers. This one's kind of out of the blue. I don't know. I guess all the Packers fans are agree with it because they hate that he left. This one's kind of out of the blue. Don't know a lot about him. The Packers did do a good job. The defense was pretty good this year. So But this kind of odd from the Dolphins. Like they're taking a new approach. I think they're gonna move on from Tua, so maybe they're taking on a different approach now. Don't want offensive identity, going for a defensive identity, I guess. So I guess that works for them. And then Ravens are still looking, Pittsburgh's still looking, and then Buffalo's still looking. Now the other firings. Brian Callahan. Let's actually get into the firings. Now we got into the hirings. Now let's get into the firings. Ooh. Titans. Bryce to fire Brian Callahan. Great. He was not good. Daboll. I think they kind of gave him the short end of the stick, to be honest, because he's the one that hired. I mean, he's the one that drafted Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo. Now you're firing him. I mean, it has been a lot of seasons there, but I would have given him one more season to see if he could figure it out with Jackson Dart in the second year. And if he couldn't, then he would get fired. That would make a lot of sense. But I think the Giants kind of let him go too early, but they got John Harbaugh, so we'll see how that goes out. Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon, he's been there for a few seasons, and he has not turned the team around. Kyler Murray's about to leave. So, I agree. Stefanski, the situation with the Browns was weird. Like I said, Jimmy Haslam was saying that he didn't want Shador, or they just picked him for because basically the NFL wanted to, or like, and no one was taking responsibility on who wanted to draft Shador. I think who's the GM? Barry? I think he's the one that wanted Shador, but he didn't want Shador. But Kevin Stefanski didn't want Shador. It was a whole debacle. I don't know what's going on there. It was weird. So I guess that's why he's out. And they sucked. Their defense was good, and they sucked. So and he's an offensive guy. So that's why Jimmy was like, get this guy out of here. The Falcons, Raheem, he's been there for a while. He didn't turn them around. And he got Michael Penix. And he got injured. So I think it was a whole thing too. Pete Carroll, he's been there, 2 seasons. He's old, bro. Don't get me wrong. Don't mean ageist, but he's just, it wasn't a good fit. He's gone. Dolphins, Mike McDaniel's been there for a few seasons. This year was horrible for the Dolphins. Tua also regressed, so out. Ravens, been there for 19, 18 seasons. John Harbaugh. So I think it was time for a change. I think they also didn't like, who's it? Bisaccia. Steve Bisaccia, owner of the Ravens. I think he didn't like either that. He's had Lamar for years, and they haven't progressed, and this year didn't even make the playoffs. So he was like, out of here. I think 2024 was their best shot, and they lost to the Bills, remember, with the Mark Andrews drop and the turnovers. So I think he was over that, want someone new. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I've been calling this for 3 years. I was like, bro, they got to depart. They got to fire him. They got to do something. And I hate it that people always say that, bro. That people always say, like, oh, but he's a good coach. Mike Tomlin, he's a good coach. I know he's a good coach. Or he's like, he's never had a losing season. How dare they do this to him? Or like the reports of the team that they were crying or what. Bro, don't get me wrong. Mike Tomlin is a good head coach, bro. Just because they fired him or he hasn't done good enough these past few seasons doesn't make him bad. I'm just saying that he's not for Pittsburgh anymore. They need to move on. He's been there for 19 years, and they haven't won a playoff game in like 7 years. So it's like it's just time to move on. They're mediocre. They're not even good. They're mediocre. They're never good enough to win the Super Bowl. They're never bad enough to have a first-round pick, but they're just not good. Time to move on. And they did that. I think credit to him, accountability. He moved on. He said, I'm going to step down. So great job on his part. And all the Steelers fans that were saying they were calling for him to get fired, and now that he's fired, now they want to be like, why would we fire him? Like, you just said you wanted him fired, Brett, or wanted him to step down. So stop all this nonsense. It's time for him to move on. Moved on. I give him credit for having the accountability to move on. See what else he does. But they need a new coach, bro. They need a restart because it was just the same mediocre team every single season. Never good enough to win the championship, never bad enough to have a first-round pick. Football purgatory is where the Steelers were in. So finally, he's gone. And the Bills, already talked about that when I was talking about the Bills and Broncos, where it's kind of cruel, but it's the name of the game. It's the name of the game. And that's it, okay? Now moving on from football, let's go to soccer. Let's go to 4. This one I'm actually going to go on Instagram. Historia que tú hiciste, historia para hacer. Let me go to 433.